Hello my crafty peeps, welcome back to my channel heatherlynnecrafts. I'm Heather and today's video is packed with fun details, creative tips, and a full start to finish look at how I created this 2-page layout. Plus I'll be sharing some of my favorite design tips and tricks along the way that you can use on your own projects. I'll be working with some of my photos from my husband and I's visit to Washington State Fair this past August, so you can expect some fun color, playful elements, and a little fair food nostalgia sprinkled throughout. Who doesn't love fair food? This video is also a special collaboration with the creative design team and Jama Malmy's Paper Divas. I'm going to be creating my layout using the brand new creative design team's 12x12 sketchbook volume 5. If you don't have this, you're going to want to get your hands on it, and I will link how to purchase this from the creative design team. Work right along with us using this. We're going to be working our way through the sketchbook as a collaboration, and we're starting on page 6, so you'll get to see a bunch of totally different creative takes on it. Make sure you check out the description box below for the details on all the other designers' videos. You'll definitely don't want to miss out how everyone interprets this fun sketch. It's always fun to see how one design can turn into so many different unique layouts. So if you're ready, go grab your favorite drink as usual, get comfy, and let's jump right into creating this 2-page spread together. Here we go. Okay, so as you can see, I've kind of got a little bit of a game plan here. I'm not fully sure how this is all going to come together, but I pulled some papers and some stamp sets that I think might work well with the themes that I've chosen, which is the State Fair. Ours is held here in Puyallup, Washington, and my husband and I went for the first time by ourselves with no kids this past August, and I tell you, it was like the funnest, most wonderful date night, just the two of us. We had so much fun together, and these photos are definitely going to show you that. I'll be working with this design sketch here, and as I mentioned, this is the creative design team's 12x12 volume 5 sketchbook sketch. We'll be working with this sketch, so let's clear this off and get the photos laid out so we can kind of get our flow going here. Okay, we've got our mats out, and today, rather than starting with a white base, because I have chosen some colors that are more farm-like, I kind of am going for more of a farm theme with this, because when my husband and I go to the fair, one of our favorite parts about the fair is our visit to the petting zoos, and this particular year we went and watched the kids compete on their horses, and we spent a good amount of time watching that, and it was just so much fun. And so we have quite a few pictures of the kids competing on their horses, and then we went and saw the sheep and the petting zoos, and all the stuff that the kids would always kind of rush us through because they just wanted to get to the rides. So my husband and I took our time this time, and we spent some time in the infomercial section, and like I said, all the stuff that the kids never want to do. They're just rides, food, and so my husband and I got to do what we wanted to do this year. I'm going with a basic beige for my base, and I'm going with the light side of the basic beige, so you can kind of see the difference between the two. And so I am going to be working on the light side of the basic beige. I'm going to go ahead and put these down, get them nice and straight, be able to use my grid lines here as measurements for photo placement. So we got those down. We have our sketch, so let's take a look at how these photos should lay out here. I'm going to again be using some flip flaps, so because I have more photos than the sketch called for. So here's our 7x5 landscape photo. Here's our 5x7 portrait photo. We have the 6x4 here, and I've got two photos here. We've got, like I mentioned, all the kids competing on their horses. We sat and watched that. So I'm going to put this on top of that, and my journaling will go on the back side of that. So when this flips up like this, my journaling will be back here. So this is going to go here. And then we have this right here. Again, I turned that into a 3x4 because they just would not fit the way I wanted them to. So I'm going to put, let's put this one here, and it kind of overlaps just a little bit. And then I have these two here. So let's see if we can get this in here. This is my husband eating an elephant ear that was like peanut butter or jelly and I don't know, something. It was quite interesting. Very, very sweet. Okay, so then we've got the 3x3s, and I think I'm going to put this one here and this one here. This is just another shot of the rides. My husband eating his elephant ear. And then I printed this out. I found this on the internet. This is just the Washington State Fair logo. I think I might use this in like a cluster down here. And then I've got two 4x3 photos here. Let's see, I've got this one and this one. This is my husband standing in line to get some barbecue at Barbecue Pete's. And then this is one of our favorite spots over here. It's called The Farm, and fun. This is just a fun little spot that we stopped at, and I just thought that was a cute little picture. It's got the cow on the roof and the tractor on the roof, and I just thought that looked like the fair right there to me. So here's kind of our layout. Now we've got to look at what we've got here. So the couple papers that I brought in, I'm kind of going with the blue and red theme. So blue, red, and beige. I pulled this paper here from this is the Cute as a Bug 12x12 Designer Series paper set, and it's this picnic table look to the front, and then on the back is the mushrooms. So I'm going to be working with this red plaid, and then I also pulled this piece here from the Country Wood set. I feel like this just really looks like fair to me. Sitting at the picnic tables and stuff eating our fair food, that was what that looked like to me. So I pulled that in. So this is Night of Navy, and this is Poppy Parade. So I also grabbed a piece of each, trying to decide which ones I wanted to put down as the base, and then which color I wanted to map my photos in. So haven't quite decided that yet. I'm going to kind of just play around with this and see what I like. I know a lot of these photos do have some red in them. So there's the red here in my husband's elephant ear with the raspberry jam he's eating. We've got some red in the background here with these Coca-Cola umbrellas there. We've got the barn, and the tractor is red. The logo also is red and blue. And then the ride here is red. And then of course I'm wearing blue, and my husband's wearing his Seattle Mariners gear. This was during the time where the Seattle Mariners were doing really, really well. So he's sporting his Mariners gear here. All right, so we just have to figure out what we're going to do next. So I'm looking at, we've got this piece A here that kind of goes down the center of this one, and then we've got A over here which kind of goes this way. This is indicating that these should be two different types of paper. We've got this darker piece here and the lighter piece here. I haven't decided if I'm going to do these in different colors or if I want to make those the same. I have not decided that yet. So let's kind of take a look at what that might look like in the different scenarios. So if we did A right here as the blue going down the center here, and then we matted our photos on red, the Poppy Parade, not red, sorry, like that, and then this down here. I think that's cute. That could work. And then these ones over here, kind of matted like that, just going down the center. I like that. And then we'd have the banners going across here with maybe this one. I don't know. Not fully sold on that yet. The other option we can do is do this in the blue, in the red on the background, like this, going down the center, and then mat the photos in the navy. So let's see what that looks like. We do that. This particular photo is like all blue. So that one kind of maybe gets a little bit lost. I don't know. I'm not sure. This is going to be a tricky one. So we're just going to play with this until we get something figured out that we like here. Let's see. And then down here, I'm feeling like maybe I like the red with the blue matte. We could do that over here and then do the opposite over here. Because like I said, it does show like these are two different colors. So it doesn't indicate that those have to be the same. So this one would be coming in this way, and then we could matte these photos over here in red and do these ones in blue. Kind of just do an opposite effect there, like this. Do we like that? Let's see. Actually, I think I kind of do with that down there and that kind of coming over here. You know what? I think that's it. I'm happy with that. I actually do kind of like that they're two different colors, but it's going to all come together because it's going to be all one theme. It's going to be all the same color scheme all throughout, even though we've got a different main paper on both sides. So let me do that. And then I also need to figure out what I want to put down here. So we've got banners going off these directions. And then on this one right here, we also have this B piece that comes down off to the side here. And then we've got this little tiny piece of C that comes up over the top here. So we're gonna have to figure out what colors we want to do those in. Let's take a look at our photos and maybe figure out, do we want to pull another color in? I thought about gray, but with the beige being in the background, because my husband's jersey is gray, you know, there's gray in the photos. But with the beige background, I don't like the gray and the beige together. So that's not going to be an option. Looking at the photos, we could bring in some green. There's a pop of green here. There's a little bit of green from the lights and the grass in this photo, but that's really all there is. Unfortunately, most of these photos are just gray, blue, and red with a little bit of brown sprinkled throughout as well. So we've got a little bit of green here. So we could maybe just bring in some green with some foliage or some fun elements here. Some of the stamp sets I thought I might work with, we've got Unbridled Beauty, which kind of ties into our horses and stuff here. I've got the Boardwalk Fun, and this one mostly for the die cuts. I thought the Ferris wheel might be a fun one because of this. We could put that somewhere here. The Fun Ticket right here would be a fun one. We could stamp out the roller coaster, so something along those lines. And I also brought in the Woolly Friends, the little sheep. I don't think I printed out any pictures of the sheep, but we did stop and visit the sheep. Maybe I could grab that guy and throw him on here too somewhere underneath one of these, but we did stop and visit the sheep. And then I also have Textured Timber, which I think is just a fun fun one whenever I'm doing something country related. So these are the images that I've brought in to kind of work with. So let me pause and think about this and maybe cut some papers down, and I'll be back in just a brief second. All right, I went ahead and got all of our papers cut down, and let's go ahead and lay these out where they're supposed to go. I'm gonna need to refer back to my sketch here. So we have the blue piece. This goes here. This is gonna go all the way to the edge. And then we have the two banner pieces that go here, and I decided to just do opposites. So on this side, I'm gonna do the red and the wood, and then over here, I'm gonna do the blue and the wood. So I use this wood grain. This is also from, these are from the same set, the Country Woods paper, sorry, Mango. He is just such a curious little boy. I'm kind of limited on time here, so we have to scooch him along. Okay, so we got one going there, and then we've got one going here. Okay, and it does have a little bit of the bottom piece coming through there. And then over on this side, this one has a little bit more pieces. We've got this one that's kind of centered over to the left more. So it's not really in the middle. It kind of has just over to the, more over to the left with more showing over here. And then we've got our two banners as well. Actually, so this one has the other part of this one that kind of carries over, so that when you put these two together, it looks like one solid blue piece going all the way through. Sorry about all the cat hair. Mango, every time I finish something, he has to get up here and say, what did you do? I want to see. So, okay, so we're going to carry this one all the way through like that, and then this one's going to go up here, and then this piece goes up here, and this goes behind the photos. So let's bring in our photos. So what I did is I matted the right side on blue and the left side on red. So here's our big one. This one goes here, see, about right there. And then this kind of comes out from that like that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and glue these down here in just a little bit. And then this one goes down here. And then we've got these two here. So this one goes here and this one goes here. Now in the sketch, it calls for these to overlap a little bit, but because I'm using flip flaps, I didn't want to do that. So I am gonna just not overlap them. So again, sketches are jumping off points. They don't have to be followed to the T. So then I've got this side over here that I've matted in red. We've got our two 3x3s and then our 4x3 here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line these up over here to the left because I have a plan for this corner. And then I printed out, this is the Washington State Fair logo. And I also matted that on red. So I'm gonna put that there. And before I start gluing everything down, one thing I wanna do is I do want to ink up the edges of some of my paper in this pecan pie. So I'm gonna do that off camera so you don't have to watch me do that, and then I'll be right back. Okay, we've got everything glued down. As you can see, I inked up the edges around all of my layers of cardstock here, just to kind of help separate those. Feeling like this is looking pretty good and it's coming together. The fun part is about to begin, which is my favorite thing to do, is start embellishing. I've got a couple of ideas, and I've actually already done some die cutting off camera. I created my title with the Cricut print and cuts. And then this is gonna go right here, which is where it says it needs to go on the title here. I'm thinking I'm gonna leave off the subtitle because mine kind of layers like that already. So my title just says Fair Days, Date Nights. ChatGPT came up with that for me. I just put in what we were doing and it came up with a couple of ideas, and that one stuck at me because we were there day and night, and it was a fair day and a date night. So it literally described what we were doing perfectly. I cut out some other die cuts here from different components, and I'll go through these here in just a second. But what I want to do before we do that is this side over here, I slid this one over. So that would give me this whole corner to work with right here. And what I have in mind for right here is I want to stamp the little roller coaster from Boardwalk. It's called Boardwalk Fun. This one right here. And I am going to use my brand new Stampin' Positioner. I have not played with this yet, so you're going to get to see first time use. I've never done this before with this platform, so it'll kind of show you right out of the box how easy it is to use. You know, I'm used to using my Misty, so I've not used anything other than that before. So this is going to be a new experience, and you get to experience it with me. So I just kind of took the lid off, and these are little magnets with little flaps to pull them up with. You've got this row of pegs right here, and I'm just going to slide this paper all the way up to those pegs and then put it down with my magnets. And then my stamp is going to go face down right here wherever I want it. So the impression part is facing the paper. And then we're going to take our top and put it back on. Make sure that the Stampin' Up logo is facing you and it's reading the right direction. It's not upside down or inside out. So you don't want to put it this way. See how it's backwards? You don't want that. Make sure you put it on this way right here where you can clearly read the Stampin' Up logo there. So we're just going to push down and it picks up the image just just like that. And then I'm gonna take my early espresso ink and I'm gonna just ink this guy up. I'm doing this in early espresso and not black because a lot of the roller coasters at our fair are the old-fashioned wood roller coasters that kind of jiggle and jangle all the way through, kind of really old-fashioned, and that's kind of what I'm going with here. So I've got that inked up. I'm just gonna push down. I'm gonna let that ink absorb into the paper here for just a second, kind of push my fingers around. Now, I'm not standing up. I am sitting in my chair and I'm just kind of gently pushing, giving it a second to absorb, and then we'll let go. And that's that. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a second coating just because this stamp is brand new. I haven't used it yet. So I tried to season it, but again, same as usual. With a new stamp, you get that residue from the factory. So sometimes for a first time impression, you need to stamp it twice, which is why we have a positioner, right? So we'll see if this lines up really well. Paper hasn't moved, so I just stamped it up again. And we'll put this down. My Stampin' Up is facing me. I'm gonna go ahead and push down. I'm gonna not worry about this stuff right here because it shouldn't touch my paper. And just push down, let that absorb, let go. Perfect. No smearing, no smudging, no blurriness from the image having moved. So that looks like a perfect impression to me. I'm happy with that. This particular stamp does not come with a die cut, so I'm gonna just fussy cut this guy out and I'll be right back. Okay, we've got this all fussy cut out. I think it looks really good. I'm gonna make a little scene here. So where our fair is located, we are right in front of Mount Rainier. And although I don't have any pictures of the actual mountain that I'm gonna be putting down, when you're at the fair, that is definitely one of the icons that is in your eye view almost anywhere you are throughout the fair. So I'm gonna create a little scene of the roller coaster with the mountain in the background and the evergreen trees, which is just, that describes Washington. We've put the mountains and the evergreen trees, and the fair is built right in the center of all of that. So you can see all the trees and the mountains and all that. We used to call it the Puyallup Fair. It's now the Washington State Fair. It is the largest fair in Washington State. And it just so happens to be about 10 minutes for me. So it's really fun to go have a nice little night out. I'm gonna try and replicate the scene. So what I did is I cut out some images from this set, the Scenic Adventure set. I cut out the mountains and some of these trees, these here, and then I cut out this thing of, I don't know what you call that, grass or bushes or whatever you want to call this one right here. And so I'm gonna go ahead and try and build a scene. I also cut out the Ferris wheel and some of these tickets, and then I cut out some of these, this guy here and this guy here to go with that set. So these two scenes together is what I'm gonna build here. I've got all that here. I'm gonna go ahead and bring out my glass mat so that I can ink these guys up. I've got my mountain here, and I'm gonna start with Pecan Pie on that and just kind of give it some mountainous vibes here. So this fair takes place usually in early September, which is one of our nicer months around Washington State. It's usually still in the high 70s, low 80s around that time. So mountains are generally pretty snowless at that point. So don't need to do a lot of snow on these guys. We're just gonna bring in some dirt, dirty these guys up. I didn't want it to just stay this basic beige color. That's what I cut it out in because it blends too well into the background. So I'm just dirtying this up, giving it a mountain look here. And I'm gonna do a little bit darker around the edges here. And I'm just using a dome brush here. Okay, we're not gonna see too much of that side. And it's gonna dry down just a little bit. It looks pretty dark right now and it's gonna dry down. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's go ahead and close this guy up. I'm gonna try not to get as inky as I did last time. I had blue ink everywhere. I swear I was like turning into a little Smurf, but it worked out because the Seahawks won, so I have no complaints. It was worth it. Okay, here's our mountain. This is gonna go kind of in the background here. And then I've got my trees and stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and ink those up as well. Let me grab some green and I'll be right back. Okay, got the glass mat back out. I've got a fresh dome and I've got my Mossy Meadow ink pad. I'm gonna go ahead and open this guy up. And these trees that I use, they're cut out in a retired color. It's called Pear Pizzazz is what this is called, but you could use any light green that you have. This one first one I grabbed. Honestly, I wasn't trying to just be super specific because I knew I was gonna ink over them, so it didn't matter a ton. So I'm just gonna use my Mossy Meadow here and just kind of take some of that ink off and just go around the edges of it here. Make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. You don't have to do this part. You could just leave it solid cardstock if you wanted to. I like adding the dimension and making it look a little bit more realistic, but a solid cardstock works just as well. I'm gonna take a lot of this off here and just kind of do do this now. This is why I didn't care too much about what the base cardstock looked like. I just knew I wanted it to be lighter than the Mossy Meadow. So there's my grass. Okay, and then I'm going to ink up a bunch of these trees. I did not count how many I stamped out. I just did a bunch of them, and if whatever I don't use, I just put them back into the stamp case with the actual stamps themselves, and then, you know, maybe I use them on a next project. So I'm just kind of stamping these, giving them some dimension. Let me show you the difference between the stamped versus the not. Makes a huge difference in terms of how like dimensional they look. Some of them we can give more inking to, some of them we can give less inking to, and that way they look realistic, like they're not all the same exact coloring. And when you do it this way, of course, no matter how much you try, you could never get two of them to look exactly the same because they're going to be slightly different no matter what you do. I'm not worried about the brown stems. We're just going to call it good like that. This one I left a little bit more of the light on that one tree. And we'll do this one. Maybe this one I just do the edges and leave more of that showing, or the lighter cardstock showing underneath. And I don't put as much on this one. That way they look like they're all different. No two, they're kind of like snowflakes. No two the same, right? All right. So now that we have that done, the next thing we need to do is add our little cars. So I've cut them out in Balmy Blue, Night of Navy, and then I did Poppy Parade. And I am going to cut these apart and make these different colors here and then just glue them on. I'm going to pop the centers of these out. These are not supposed to be there. So I'm just using my take a pick tool and shoving that center out there. I think I might alternate the colors. It's easy enough to cut these guys apart and place them how I want them. So I think I want my front one here to be red. So I'm going to cut that one off first. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this over here because I lose this all the time. Please tell me I'm not the only one that does that, because I swear it would attaches to whatever it's not supposed to attach itself to. I'm going to put that down here, and then whatever one, let's do the light blue guy next. So then you take the second car here and cut him out. So hello, Mango. I get your 2 seconds of fame in here, huh? As long as you stay over there, you're good. Okay, and then we're gonna do the navy one next. Maybe I'll just not do it like that. So now we take the third car back. Are you curious, little guy? Oh, you curious? Yes. Don't cut your nose. Don't glue your nose either. That's not fun. That's not fun. Don't want to do that. There we go. Now we got our dark blue one, and then we'll do the last one in red. So we just take the second to last one here. Get him off. Okay. And put him down this way. There we go. And we got our little train car going in all different colors there. All right. If you start messing with stuff, honey, you're going to have to get down. So we can toss these ones now. We don't need these ones. These are just all of the extras. You do have to cut it out in each color that you want those cars to be. So it took me a little bit of cutting, and that's why I did that off camera, so you wouldn't have to watch me do that. Okay. Let's put my glue back in, or the pin back in my glue really quick. I'm going to say hi to Mango really quick and let him know he's loved. And then I'm going to kick him down. Be right back. Okay, Mango is on the floor next to me now. He was likely to pop back up here again, but we're going to hope we can get through this without that happening. Okay, so I've not glued anything down yet. I'm just trying to kind of get an idea of how I want this scene to come together. So I cut this really long. I wasn't sure which parts of it I wanted to use. We will bring this down some like this. There we go, because we don't want any of that basic beige from behind coming through. So I don't like that there. So I don't want my little cars to be covered up by my grass here. So put it like that. I think that's good. And then I'm thinking what I might do is just put some of these like back here like that. And now I've got my neighbor's rooster crowing again. Good times. Maybe put this one over here. I don't know. Maybe 2 of them here. I don't want to cover up Bobby there in the corner of the picture either. So maybe we can just cut some of these off so that they're kind of coming off the page here like that. That could be fun. And then maybe one more back here, kind of coming off really low like that. This one coming up a little higher. I'm happy with that. So let's go ahead and glue this down, and I'll be right back. Okay, I went ahead and cut out my little Ferris wheel and all the little buckets that go in the Ferris wheel in the same colors I've been working with, which is that Balmy Blue, the Pear Pizzazz, the Night of Navy, and the Poppy Parade. And then the Ferris wheel itself is cut out in Early Espresso. So I think for this, what I plan to do is put this over here. And you can kind of see I finished my little scene down here. And I just kind of cut off the bottom of it with my scissors so that it would be a nice, crisp, clean edge. And I've got my scene built here with my roller coaster. I think that came together so cute. I'm super happy with that. And then I think I moved this guy up just a little bit. I think I'm going to put the Ferris wheel guy right here. But I also also think I need to bring that green, the trees, up over to here. So I'm thinking maybe here and here. I just haven't decided yet if I want to put that coming out from here. Maybe I just lift that a little bit and put this underneath like this, and then have this coming out this way, giving that a grounding spot for that to land. Do we want to put some small ones behind there? I might have to ink up a few more of these guys. Maybe just put the smaller one here in front like this. Let's see, I think I have another small one there. There we go. Maybe put another small guy here, something like this. I don't know, this is where you just kind of play until something makes sense. Sometimes the stuff I'm doing, I'm like, it sounds good in theory, and then I put it down and I'm like, I don't like it. So this is where I just kind of play until you can see I like it behind that better. Okay, so I'm going to ink these up a little bit. I'm just going to grab my foam dauber. I'm not even going to put any more ink on this. I'm just going to use what's already on it. Dab what's here. I'm going to get my fingers a little inky, and that's okay. It comes off. The hardest part is just making sure I don't get ink in places I don't want it until I wash my hands. So we're just going to do this rather than bringing the glass mat back out again. We're just going to make this easy. Okay, so how did I decide I wanted that? I think I wanted this guy in the back. So let's glue this guy. I do like him kind of tucked behind there. And there it goes. I don't need a whole bunch. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of lift this with my spatula here and put this here. I don't want to get glue on this. Let's move him out of the way. I don't want a crooked stem there either. So there we go. That looks good. And then one of these are going to go off behind it over here. Put him down here. I don't want that sticking out. So we're just going to put that one there. And then we're going to put this down. I think I might cut out something to go in the center of this. I just think the center there looks a little bit plain. I could probably dress that up a little bit better. I'm just putting a couple little dots of glue, not a ton, just needs to stay down. It doesn't need to be glued everywhere. I think that's enough. And we're just gonna, again, slide this, I'm gonna get my spatula, slide this up here and just kind of put that down like that. I like that. Make sure I've got just enough glue to hold all these down without them sliding all over. And then this guy, put you here. I don't want a crooked trunk. Hang on, let me fix that. It's my pick tool. Go, slide that over. There we go. This thing is good for so many things. I use it so much. Even just getting like these little tiny trims of paper off here is perfect. I'm liking that. Mango's back. He is being extra needy right now. Okay, so that looks really good. I'm going to have to get him off because I need to work right where his little tushy is. So let me close this off and then I'm going to get him down and I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and I stamped the word "Enjoy the Ride" onto this blue ticket, which is from the Boardwalk fun set, and so is the die cut for the ticket. But I think they're just looking a little flat over here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up the edges of them a little bit. And to do that on the blue, this is Balmy blue cardstock, and I'm going to use Blueberry Bushel to kind of ink around the edges of this. So I'm just going to do like this around the edges just to give it a little bit of interest and make it not so flat. Same as everything else. Like I just feel like when it's just plain cardstock, sometimes it can just look a little bit flat and blend into the background a little too easily. So I feel like this just helps define the edges a little bit and make it pop off the page. Yeah, I like that. That helps a lot. And I like this Blueberry Bushel with Night of Navy together. I think that just gives it a little bit more blue hue, which kind of matches that. And I like that better than the Night of Navy ink. So that one works for that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the green using the Mossy Meadow, just like we did the trees. And that kind of carries that green all the way through. We want it to carry from start to finish. And this one's not going to have any words on it because this one's going to go behind that one. So I didn't stamp anything on this one. It's just plain Pear Pizzazz cardstock. And then I'm inking the edges of it here with this Mossy Meadow. Okay. And that's going to go behind that one. So let's think how I want to do that is have them coming out from this like that. So actually I think I want the green on the blue paper and then that one here, and maybe have them come in at like different angles and put them behind that like that, a little more like that. I think I'm okay with that. So let's just put this down. I'm going to put a little bit of glue just down here at the bottom, not very much. And then I'm going to put this down where I want it, which is right about there. And then I'm going to put, actually I might cut this one off just a little bit. Let me do that because it might end up down to where my glue's at. So let's just cut this one off right here. Stick this kind of coming out that way. And then I might do the same thing as the blue one here. We don't need the bottom of it. And then put this one here like that. We want to be able to see our words. Can you guys tell me why this why this rooster is crowing at 6 o'clock in the evening? I thought roosters were, I keep calling it a crow because I call it crowing. And that might not even be the right terminology. I don't know. But why is it doing its thing at 6 o'clock at night? I thought they were only supposed to do that in the morning. that's just what I remember as a kid hearing, that you got to be up before the rooster crows. So let's see, I'm just going to glue these down, not very carefully, just that way I make sure that they stay right where I want them to stay. I am happy with that corner. So I'm going to just kind of leave the rest of that empty. I like the blank space down here to give your eye a place to rest. So we're going to call this side done for now. Let's switch gears and come over to this page over here. Now we've got green kind of coming throughout. We do need to add some green here. I need to figure out how we're going to do that. I do have another set of these blue and green tickets we could use. Have these coming out here. I don't think I glued that top down part here in. Why do I do that to myself? I always tell myself, don't put so much glue on right off the bat. And then I do. And then I have to kind of take them back up again. Thank goodness for the spatula. So I might just tuck this guy right behind here. Maybe I'll cut these off again here. Okay. So that could actually give us 2 more tickets if we needed to. So we could put these ones like this. I want them coming up a little bit higher, maybe like that. Or do we want them like even? I kind of like them like askew like that. Do we want to put I think this time we should put the green one in front. Then let's see, what else do we got? So we've still got this green ticket here. We could kind of maybe put off to the side here to carry that green all the way through. We've got a couple of trees and some grass left. We could just maybe throw that down there. Maybe even like grab like an animal or something to kind of put down here in the corner, because that's what we did as we visited the animals. Kind of like that, bringing that through, and that carries that green. I'm going to have to ink these guys up though. I kind of feel like we need a little bit of green. I feel like my title is getting lost. So let me pause for just a minute. Let me think this through and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have an idea to kind of spread some color around here. I've stamped out these images, and unfortunately, I don't have the manufacturer of this. I'll link it in the description after I'm able to find that. But it's just a stamp set that's full of fair foods. I think this is perfect for this page. So I've pulled some Copic markers that I'm going to use to color these images in, and we're going to just do this really quick. This is not going to be perfection here. We're just going to aim to get her done. So I'm going to color this, and then I'll speed it up in the video, and you can listen to some fun music while I color these in. Okay, we have everything glued down. Our clusters are complete. I did decide to just go ahead and leave the title as it is. I just added some green up to it so that the green carried all the way throughout the page. I do have more than my traditional 3 clusters, but oops, I didn't glue him down. Missed one. So the last few things I need to do to finish this page here is I'm going to add some Wink of Stella to some of my food embellishments here to make them shine a little bit. So I did like a little snow cone here. We're going to give him some icy finish here. And I didn't want to add yellow to the color combination here. So rather than making this regular popcorn, this has now become kettle corn. So we're going to give it some sugary finish to make it look like kettle corn. Because honestly, when I go to the fair, I don't get regular popcorn. I get either kettle corn or caramel corn, something a little different than your traditional popcorn. And then over here, we've got our cotton candy. So I'm going to give this one some Wink of Stella, make this one nice and shiny. You can always see the sugar crystals in when that hits the sun. And then we've got our vanilla ice cream. Ice cream's always got to have a little bit of shimmer to it. And I know you probably can't see this on camera, but I'm going to hold it up close to the light so you'll be able to see it. And then we've got our pretzel and our corn dog here. And for those ones, I don't want to add shimmer to them, but I do want to give them some extra little something something. So I am going to take my Sakura Jelly Roller 10 and I'm going to add some little salt sprinkles to our pretzel. I can't eat pretzels anymore. I do have celiac disease, so no pretzels for moi, but I do know what they taste like because I had them once upon a time when I was not celiac. And if anyone knows of a good place to get a gluten-free pretzel around here, I would never say no to that. Love my pretzels and my corn dogs. Can't have either one of those things anymore, but so there's that. The last thing we need to do to call this page done is I'm going to add some little tiny rhinestones. I didn't want to add too much more because we do have a lot going on here. So I'm just going to use these little teeny tiny. These are meant for like fingernails, like nail art. And I get these off of Amazon. I just think that these are nice and simple to add. I'm going to add probably some blue ones. Actually, let's go with the light. Should we go with light blue? Let's go with light blue. And I'm just going to kind of sprinkle them around here. Let's go 1, 2, 3. And that's how I like to do it. I like to just put my glue down and then just put them. Let's put a blue one there. And then let's put a green one over here on this side. And then we'll put a red one over on the other side. There we go. I like that. Kind of looks like little confetti. I like that. And then we'll put some over here. Let's put one here, one here, one here. And then we'll figure out the colors. Let's see. I think right here I'm going to do green. Put you here. And then here I think I'll do, let's do the blue right here. And then here we'll do the red. All right. And then let's see. Let's put some up in this cluster up here. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Okay. So on the red, or on the blue ticket there, I think I'm going to do the red one. I think that will pop the most right there. 1, and then we'll put the blue next to the green. And then where did I put that third dot? Oh yeah, over there. And we'll put the green one over there. Just one. There we go. Okay. And I think I'm going to put some around my title up here. I'll put 1, 2, 3. And I think we'll do red up on the top. 1. And then we'll do green on the side. And then we'll do blue down at the bottom. I don't think I need anything else anywhere. I think we're good. I think I'm going to call this one done. All right, friends, here's a look at the finished product. I am very, very happy with how this all came together. Got my flip flaps in place here. Of course, they're not fully attached yet because I will put them on the outside of the page protector once I get them in their album. But as you can see, that's how that works. Got a cute little picture of the baby goat there on top of that one. And then myself and my husband. And then here's a picture of all the rides that were going as the sun was going down there. And then on the back here, I haven't done my journaling yet, but I will print that out and put that on the back of this one right here. And then I've got another little flip flap over here, or I could put either some more journaling or I could find one more picture to put back there. So I am very happy with how this came together. I'm going to hold this up so you can kind of take a look at all the finished pieces and how that shimmer and shine shows through with that Wink of Stella on my pretty little kettle corn there and my little corn dog and my pretzel, my little fair tickets. Really like that. I love the color of the little tiny rhinestones and that red and the green and the blue. Cannot obsess over that title enough. So there's all that page, and we'll pick this guy up. And again, if you're curious about how to get your hands on that Stampin' Up platform, just message me and I can gladly chat with you and talk to you about how you can get your hands on that as well. Love this little scene down here. So if you have any other questions about anything that I did today or any of the products I used or any of the techniques I used, again, just go ahead and message me and I will get back to you with some answers and we can have a fun little crafty chat. All right, friends, that's all I have for you today. So take care, happy crafting, and I'll see you around here on YouTube. Bye-bye.